Welcome, Mojo players. Johnny here, and today we're delving into the darkest depths of Hyrule to bring you the 10 creepiest Zelda enemies. For this list, we'll be looking at the most unsettling foes Link has had the misfortune of fighting, be they regular enemies, mini-bosses, or bosses. Which Zelda enemy makes your skin crawl the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Silent Realm Guardians: The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. The Guardians of Breath of the Wild became well known for stressing players out, but that's honestly nothing compared to what we felt during Skyward Sword's Silent Realms. Designed as tests for the prophesied hero, Silent Realms take away all items and weapons and task you with collecting 15 tears. However, if you're spotted by a watcher, touch Waking Water, or too much time passes in between each tier, the Guardians will give chase. One hit will make you start over, and they don't need line of sight to find you. While their overall design is intimidating, it isn't necessarily scary. Still, having nothing to defend yourself with, and the fact that flying guardians can move through physical objects, makes these some of the most terrifying encounters in Zelda. Sea Hat: The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. P-Hats are a common enemy seen in multiple installments that are not in the least bit scary. Sea Hats, on the other hand, look like they could devour us in moments and not give it a second thought. These variants only appear in Wind Waker, sticking in groups and ramming you off your boat if you get too close. While P-Hats are more plant-like, Sea Hats have developed giant gaping mouths full of sharp teeth and wide eyes. And the speed in which they charge you is certainly alarming. Thankfully, once you get an item with a bit of range, they aren't as much of a problem. But if you get spotted by a group of them, they'll swarm you like a school of hungry piranhas. Skulltula: Various. Our hearts go out to any arachnophobic Zelda fans, because Skulltulas must be a constant source of fear. Giant spiders are classic monsters used throughout the history of fantasy, and so these enemies have appeared in a ton of entries across the series. Beyond spiders just being great creepy crawly enemies, the Skulltulas have a handful of additional spooky features. In some appearances, their names are taken literally, with their bodies being designed to look like skulls. Regular Skulltulas will often drop down on Link, while smaller ones will cling to walls, charging if he gets too close. Those in Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword are even worse, skittering across the ground to fight you head on. Needless to say, we love killing these things. Style Enemies: Various. Another classic fantasy monster type is the Skeleton Warrior. Yeah, doesn't sound that original, but we guarantee if sword-wielding skeletons came stampeding in our direction, we'd run the other way in terror. The Zelda series has seen a variety of skeleton-type enemies given the Style prefix. Maybe you'll get used to Style children popping up in Hyrule Field at night, or to seeing skeletal versions of regular enemies in Breath of the Wild. But what about a Style horse or a Style hound, both of which still have patches of fur clinging to their bones? Or the brutish Stalfos knights, warriors, or other oversized, overpowered skeletal monstrosities? We're not sure where all these remains come from, but we're happy to put them back in the ground. Pose: Various. If you find the concept of ghosts creepy in the real world, wait till you get a load of these. In older games, Poes would often be found haunting graveyards. Coming across these evil phantoms in the N64 entries, where they turn invisible and cackle at you, was certainly disturbing. However, Poes reached peak creep factor in Twilight Princess. Those found in Arbiter's grounds are gangly specters who wear long cloaks and have unsettling, gaunt faces. Then there are the Imp Poes, which Link must defeat in order to save Giovanni's soul. These appear as stitched together ragdolls that carry a scythe twice their size. Yeah, sorry Giovanni, you're on your own. Death Sword, The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. Arbiter's grounds were once a prison used for the deadliest criminals residing in Hyrule. We have no idea what this mini-boss did to earn residence, but we can safely say he deserved his imprisonment. Upon entering the arena, Link will need to cut the ropes clad with Afuda cards to start the fight. Once the evil warding magic is removed, a demonic apparition with a skeletal goat head will try to cleave Link in two. Death Sword's design genuinely looks like something you'd see in an occult horror movie, which is more than enough to make us want to finish this fight quickly. But he'll also fly around like a gigantic bat, screeching at you. No wonder he was imprisoned both physically and magically. Floormaster and Wallmaster, Various. Floormasters and Wallmasters are some of the most obnoxious enemies Link can face, though they're also incredibly creepy. Looking like a cross between Thing from the Addams Family and a zombie, these giant hands have been causing us grief ever since the original game. Wallmasters will drop down on Link, transporting him back to a dungeon's entrance. If that happened to us in real life, we'd take that as a sign to get the hell out. Though they don't drop from the ceiling, Floormasters are just as annoying and horrifying. In Ocarina of Time, they'll fly forward and break apart into smaller hands when you deal damage. In Wind Waker, they'll stay hidden in their shadow before grabbing you by the head. Bongo Bongo, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Don't let the silly name fool you. Bongo Bongo is the stuff of nightmares. Once Link reaches the end of the Shadow Temple, he'll be confronted by this horrific beast. The creature's design makes it look like his hands have been chopped off, and that his head has been decapitated. Link has to shoot the glowing neck hole where his head should be. The faster the better, we say. Paired with the alarming design is the lore surrounding it. The spirit of Bongo Bongo escapes from the bottom of the well to reside in the Shadow Temple, both of which were torture chambers used by the Hyrulean royal family. The separated hands and neck stumps show he definitely didn't meet a happy end. ReDead, Various. Video games have run zombies into the ground, making them far less terrifying than they should be. But ReDeads can still give us goosebumps. First introduced in Ocarina of Time, ReDeads will emit a spine-chilling shriek that literally freezes Link in his tracks. If they happen to then shamble over to him, they'll start munching on his head. They've only grown more disturbing with subsequent appearances. The piercing red eyes of their Wind Waker variant can burrow into your very soul. The ReDead Knight of Twilight Princess has a massive sword to smack you with after it freezes you in fear. While the similar mummified Gibdo has appeared in more games, the ReDead is the definitive scary enemy. Dead Hand, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. More often than not, when we think of the most disturbing element from the Zelda series, it's this dreadful mini-boss that comes to mind. Dead Hand is fought twice in Ocarina of Time, once in the bottom of the well, and again in the Shadow Temple. The first fight has a reputation for being one of the most disheartening encounters in a Nintendo game. The terror players felt in this moment has transcended the game, leading to a ton of creatively chilling artwork and the creation of an even more horrifying D&D homebrew monster, the False Hydra. The long, pale arms that protrude from the ground, Dead Hand's blood-stained body, and the nature in which it deals damage all prove it deserves that legacy.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.